Hi, this is Dominic D reporting for Kids First. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing GeorgeSchellenger and Jessica Harvey about their new show, Shark School with Jessica Harvey. I watched the film a few days ago and I have to say, wow, this is the coolest school on the planet. I learned all about tiger sharks, bull sharks, the great hammerhead, and more. Let's find out more about these two people and how this show came about. GeorgeSchellenger is the executive producer of the Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation, a two-time Emmy Award-winning documentary filmmaker. And he's been in the television business for 30 years. He loves sharks and anything having to do with animals and conservation. Jessica Harvey is the project manager of the Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation. Welcome, George. Jessica is a trained zoologist, scientist, and Guy Harvey's daughter. She grew up around the ocean and is now using that passion for projects on conservation and education. Welcome to Kids First, Jessica.
Thank you. Appreciate it. It's good to be here.
My first questions are for George. George, what was your favorite part in the making of Shark School with Jessica Harvey?
Well, Dominic, first of all, thank you for having us on your show today. Very cool. Always great to work with Kids First. The favorite part about working on this was working with Jessica, of course, and working with sharks. I mean, what more could you want? I love these animals. They are so cool.
I believe they're cool too. The cinematography in this film was truly amazing. Where was your favorite place that you filmed?
Well, I have two. Jessica and we just got back from, in January, she and I went to Tiger Beach in the Bahamas, which is just an incredible place. And in October last year, she and I went to Guadalupe, home of the white shark, and that was amazing too. So being able to travel to Jessica with these places and photograph these amazing animals, so much fun.
Mm-hmm. That's very fascinating. Switching over to Jessica. Jessica, can you explain to us, in a way that a 10-year-old can understand, what is it like to study and dive with sharks?
Wow. I actually started diving with sharks when I was 10 years old myself. We were in Walker's Key, and it was the first time we were able to go diving in shallow water with Caribbean reef sharks and lemon sharks and nurse sharks. And I was amazed. We just got to sit on the bottom, be in a peaceful environment with all our friends and family. My father was the one who took me down there. And it was mesmerizing. They all came in around us, didn't pay us any mind at all. And we just watched them feed on this piece of bait that was sitting in the middle of the sandbank that we sat on. And it was fascinating. And now to be able to use those experiences, build on those experiences for scientific study is so much fun. And to be able to, chat with you about it and share this kind of passion makes it that much more enjoyable.
Your work is very interesting, especially to someone who has such respect for animals and the environment. What words can you use to describe your work?
Ooh, that's a good question. First word would probably be challenging, because you have to work with nature, and nature is unpredictable. Right, George? you have to know where to be at the right time. You have to be ready for any moment, because you don't know when a certain shark is going to come around. And sometimes you're going to spend hours looking for them before you find the one that you can even tag. So certainly challenging. It's so much fun as well. I love every second that I'm out there, because you never know what you're going to see. You're in an environment where sharks exist with other animals. So the opportunity to be able to experience an ecosystem is also very fun. And it's just fascinating. As you say, science is a tool that is used to help answer questions about our world. And as you know, you have to do a lot of research ahead of time, and you're going to be able to contribute your knowledge to the growing knowledge of these sharks. So challenging, fun, and fascinating is what I would say.
In your opinion, what's the most interesting shark species and why?
That's a really tough because there are 512 species known, and I haven't had a chance to study them all. So to be able to pick just one, I'd have to say the great hammerhead is of particular interest to me because of how it has evolved to fit in and fit in its habitat. It's got that broad head, it's got that tall dorsal fin, it's built to be able to turn on a dime and find animals in the sand. But then you could also think, well, what about the oceanic white-tip shark and its white tips? What were those white tips for? Nobody knows. Or the filter, I mean, it's so hard. I think the top three definitely for me would be hammerheads, oceanic white tips, and tiger sharks, I think, because they are so different. And that's why sharks are so interesting. They have evolved over millions of years to fit specific niches, and each one is so fascinating. It's very hard. Very hard to choose, but I love those three.
I have to agree with you on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so back to George. You've worked on projects involving a variety of species. Can you explain to us what made you choose sharks for many of these projects?
I would say that the reason why is sharks need our help. They don't have a voice under the sea, and to help communicate what they're up against, because if we continue to fish the big ones, they're going to be gone. And your generation won't have a chance to see them. And so Jessica and I really want to educate people. We make these films to educate people so you have a chance. And when you're ready to dive with sharks, your generation will jump into an ocean just filled with life. So that's why it is so important. Education, so people understand these animals.
How long did it take for you to produce this film?
That's an interesting question. I mean, it's really a lifetime of work, because Jessica and I, we've been doing this all our lives, working with these animals, and really even the footage itself is probably, it's 10 years of footage in shark school, and all these different dives and locations and travels. And it really takes 10 years to get that kind of animal behavior, because when you jump in the water, the sharks may not always be there. Things may not happen all the time as you want them. So you have to be patient. And Guy Harvey, Jessica's father, always says, you must have patience for everything to come together to be able to tell the story of whatever you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, 10 years is a long time, and I can agree with you on why that is a long time, because the sharks aren't always there, and then you'd have to come back the next day trying to find more.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. How's your approach to filmmaking changed over the last 30 years?
Again, it's really now we are focused on education. Education is key. We want to be able to tell the story of these animals in a way that's fun, like shark school, like going to shark school. We want to make it fun, informative, to where you would tell your friends about it. And that's what Jessica and I are really focused on now.
Mm-hmm.
Jessica, tell us about your educational background. How did you become a marine biologist, and what advice do you have for a young person wishing to follow a similar path?
Well, actually, I didn't go into marine biology. I went into zoology because I originally wanted to become a vet, and then later decided to work on terrestrial animals, but I'd always been involved in marine biology through the experiences with my dad. And so having gone to school and to university, which is very helpful, especially when you need to learn how to do research. It's very important, because you, as George was saying, you're going to be spending years studying. You could be years studying the same animal and learning all sorts of new things every time. But if you don't know how to do the proper research, you could spend a lot of time collecting things incorrectly, which makes your research really difficult to share. So in terms of skill sets that are really helpful in pursuing something in marine biology, obviously the sciences are very important, but also, as my dad points out, art is extremely helpful as a way to express or showcase what you're seeing and bring light to important topics about ocean conservation. You have to work in a team, and so to be able to work with others is very important. In our line of work, we have to work in different countries, predominantly Spanish-speaking countries. So to anybody, I couldn't recommend this more, is to learn Spanish or another language, because you want to be able to communicate with people in their own language, because it's just much easier. The other thing I would think about is you never be afraid to ask questions. And also you can practice, the best thing, and people underestimate the value of this, good handwriting skills is very key. Okay, it is very hard, and people don't appreciate this until they're taking down data, and then they have to give it to a researcher to then input that data into data sheets. It is so important to have really clear handwriting, because you're going to be writing a lot of numbers down, and if you mess up a number by mistake, it could mean the difference between 2 animals or 4 animals within a data set. So keep practicing handwriting. If anybody tells you differently, you have a reason to keep practicing. But math and all those kinds of skills, practicing writing, and the main thing is practice makes perfect. You know, never, if you make a mistake, don't worry about it, keep going. And the important thing is that research is meant to be shared. So otherwise it's not benefiting anybody but yourself. So that's kind of a few takeaways that I hope you'll find helpful.
Yeah. As a second language, I'm actually learning Spanish.
Are you? That's good. How are you finding it?
Pretty hard. But my teacher is my mom. She knows Spanish.
Oh, that's really good. I'm still not fluent yet, but I'm using a certain program to help me practice. So maybe one day we'll be able to converse in Spanish together. That would be fun.
Yeah, when I'm on my favorite video game, I have, and people are speaking Spanish, I have to use a translator a bit, but I'm also learning from that translator.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a really great way of learning. Very cool.
I'm pretty booked about the usage of single-use plastics. I'm sure that you see how these plastics affect marine life. Why should kids my age be concerned about it, and what can they do to help with this issue?
I agree with you. I'm pretty bummed about it as well. And it's very hard to get away from, because we've had years of previous generations using up so much, and now younger generations have to deal with the problem. So as a young person, to realize that it takes years for plastic to break down in comparison to natural products is really important to grasp. I mean, we're still seeing plastics exist from the day that they were created decades ago. And that is causing a problem, because it is accumulating in our environment, and there is nowhere for them to actually dissolve and not play a negative impact on our environment. The other thing too is that it's toxic, and these animals are ingesting this plastic, and then you are ingesting these animals, and you could become sick from this bioaccumulation of toxins. And so it's really important to know this for your own health, because you want to live for a very long time. You want to be able to go and see all these amazing places, and your health is very important to do that. And then the other thing too is that these plastics are killing many, many marine animals. And you see it all the time. And the only way we're going to be able to prevent this from happening is to stop plastic use altogether. But we do things in stages. So there's definitely solutions that we can do, and every little bit helps. We're not going to be able to wipe the planet of plastic tomorrow, but we can certainly reduce what we use. And that is helpful if everyone took part.
True. Do you ever foresee starting a marine biology program for kids? Because I'd be super excited to join.
Oh, cool. Well, actually, this is such a great time because we are working with different partners to create marine science curriculums in schools. So we are working with Discovery Ed already. We have a bunch of different educational material on our website, as you know. And we've worked with Nova Southeastern University for a very long time. So there are accreditations that have been a part, like the science that has helped, that we've been a part of, is part of that university. And so you can do marine science there. But I'm also hoping to create a really cool volunteer program so that people can experience more expeditions and do some in-field stuff with other partners as well. So as soon as that's formalized, I'll let you know for sure. But there's definitely cool things in the works in terms of school curriculums, and hopefully we'll have more marine science examples in other subjects too.
Okay, I totally joined, so you know.
Wicked! That's awesome. I'm very excited. A kid's first review of the marine science program would be awesome. We want to make it the best it can be.
George, can you tell our audience, where can people see Shark School with Jessica Harvey? I'm sure you're going to find some real fans after they listen to the two of you.
Excellent. Well, on Amazon, you will find a lot of our documentaries. I think we have 19 up there. So you'll find Shark School and then a wide variety. So you can there's the Oceanic Whitetip documentary, a Mako shark documentary. There's documentaries on billfish. So just a whole universe of marine sea life that you can find out about on Amazon.
That's all we have time for now. Thanks to GeorgeSchellenger and Jessica Harvey for joining me today on Kids' First Coming Attractions to talk about their upcoming film, Shark School with Jessica Harvey, and teaching all of us about the importance of protecting our marine life and educating ourselves about one of the most misunderstood creatures in the ocean, our sharks. This is Dominic D reporting for Kids First. Be sure to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of my reviews and interviews. And remember, stop using single-use plastics.
Welcome to Shark School with Jessica Harvey.